Welcome to another episode of the Misfit Marketers Podcast. I'm Adam Lopez.
I'm Steph Kaufman.
We are here to drop some awesome marketing knowledge on you great folks for tuning in. We have a lot of great questions that are submitted by you fine users, and we'll dive right into them. We had some technical difficulties, I'm going to call it. I've been sick the past couple of days. I had that in the chamber. Steph's been setting up her new home studio. But regardless,
still a work in progress.
That's right. The show moves on.
We got the mic.
So we do. So better audio this episode. For those of you keeping score, last episode we were kind of a little wonky, but that's kind of tricks of the trade. But now we're back at it and better than ever. So without further ado, we'll get into the first question. So Steph, I'll ask you this as a fellow email marketing guru: should a potential client buy a cold email marketing list from Fiverr or somewhere like that? What's your take?
So I would say generally, no. For a variety of reasons. The main one being that, in general, if you're buying cold email lists, you're essentially taking data that isn't yours. It's they never gave essentially consent to be contacted, which can honestly get you in kind of murky waters. We could probably go on about warming emails, right. warming like an email domain and all of that as well. But in general, best practice, no, I wouldn't recommend it. I guess you could use it to supplement a bit, but in general, what you really want to be doing is you want to be gathering contact information through your own lead forms, right? Through your own lead magnets. We talked in the last episode about landing pages and the importance of that. What is the importance of a landing page? One of them is often to be able to get someone's contact information. You probably just go ahead and tick off the box every time, you blindly put your email in for something, right? But the reason for that is essentially giving consent to be contacted. Adam, we haven't really talked about this too much, so I'd love to hear your input on this.
Right. No, so Steph's absolutely correct. It's technically illegal to contact folks without their permission, especially via email. It's something too where the only situation, and Steph, feel free to agree or disagree with this, when buying a cold email list makes sense is if you're trying to do like a lookalike audience, maybe like LinkedIn, Facebook. Mm-hmm. So, say you're in the on-demand delivery space, right? Say you're starting something like DoorDash or Uber Eats or some kind of supplemental situation there. You're trying to raise money, right? So maybe get a list of VCs that invested in those companies, their emails, contact info, this and that. Emailing them directly might be a little bit precarious, right? So it's something where you could market to them on LinkedIn or Facebook or something like that via what's called a lookalike audience. So I'll give like the very quick understanding of this. What it is when you go into like LinkedIn Sales Navigator and LinkedIn advertising platforms and things like that, you can upload a list of folks where you can market to those folks directly from their email. You could also build a list, what's called a lookalike audience. So folks that are similar to their, what's what I'm looking for here, similar to their roles, similar to their
demographic, all of that stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. So there are good and bad sides to cold email lists. Steph is absolutely right, though. Emailing these folks outright is going to, number one, kill the reputation of your domain, right? Where it's like for upbeatgrowth.com, we don't do any cold emailing due to the fact that it will kill our domain reputation. So I'll get into the warming thing really quickly. It's something where email warming is like if you create an email a week ago, right? It's you@yourcompany.com. If you start emailing people in batches, right, you go through SendGrid or Salesforce or HubSpot or whatever it is, it's something where those emails will get flagged immediately because there's not enough traction in that email account and with that domain.
Right to the spam folder, never to be seen again.
Exactly. And if you get reported too much in those early days, your domain can essentially be banned, which is something nobody wants because, you spend a ton of time building it, right, in that reputation. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. I'm sure we'll do another episode about, deep diving into what it's like to do cold emailing and email nurturing and all that really fun / boring stuff at the same time. But any closing thoughts on that stuff?
Well, actually, I wanted to just expand on that a little bit quickly, right? Because, you said that we don't do cold emails, which we don't. Now, for one, it's because we're not going to go and buy emailing lists because, like Adam and I said, it's illegal. And you can end up right in spam. But like the other point too is that saying, you might have a fairly niche target audience. And what is going to be effective? This is actually a conversation we have with the client today. Is it going and sending the same email to 1,000 people? You could say, oh, hey, it's personalized. I automatically put their name in. Okay. No, like that's not personalized. And not only will it possibly end up in the spam folder, even if it doesn't, like it's just not going to be effective because as like a business owner, I mean, I'm getting bombarded with emails all the time. And unless I can really tell that they took the time to get to know something about me, about my business and make some kind of remark like that, I'm not going to give it the time of day. So that's just my little sidebar there as well.
No, Steph's absolutely right. And I think you're upbeat. We agree that authenticity always wins. Always be authentic. That's the name of the game, right? And we had a call today where like transparency really came to the forefront, which was really cool, right? And it's something where I think that should be done more. I think that builds stronger relationships. I'm sure Steph can share that sentiment.
No, I totally agree. And you're right. It was a very authentic and just earnest, but also just straight into the point, right? It's like, let's cut the BS and say what it really is. Like, what are we all thinking here?
Right.
What do we need to know? What information, like the client's like, look, here's what I can't give you now, right? I can't give you an answer. This is exactly why. These are the next steps that need to be taken. I mean, I could get into that forever just from like, working in sales and stuff, like how beautiful that is to have somebody be transparent with you instead of like pulling teeth to try to get information out of them. But anyway, let's move on from that.
Right.
But yeah, you're right, Adam.
To cap this off, here's one of like, I don't know if Steph calls these atomisms, or I think they're just like these silly things. It's like the elephant in the room doesn't get smaller by ignoring it, right? So it's like just address it up front.
I didn't hear that one yet today.
I said it earlier. Maybe did I? I should have.
No, you didn't. No, wait, maybe you did.
Check we'll go back to the tape.
No, you did. Oh yeah, because we have it recorded on Zoom. I have the transcripts. I think you did right before we got to pricing. I was like,
yeah, exactly.
Okay, boom, and you're like, well, the elephant. I don't know, and that's
right.
That's
yes,
all
exactly.
we wrote. Yeah, what Adam said.
Or it's a good one. Who knows? Who knows? But moving on. So as we're, kind of coming to the Christmas season and kind of it's like second semester for a lot of college folks, we had this question submitted.
Insert jingle bells here.
Exactly. That's right. A lot of other folks have checked out. Steph and I have not. We're out here burning the midnight oil as we always,
we grinded.
That's right. No days off. And so the question asked was, what to look for in an internship?
Oh, okay. This is a good one and definitely relevant because we are in the market for an intern, we're in December. Oh my gosh, time goes by so quickly. Yeah, because I started the search preliminarily in November and I was like, oh, we've got plenty of time. And now I've got to really get on it. But anyway, what to look for in an intern. Now, this is actually something I've said to the potential interns I've interviewed. Really just somebody that is not just a sponge, but is okay with or can accept, and I guess this goes for every marketer in general, but like is not okay to try something and to fail and to look at it and say, okay, what can I do better? Instead of saying, okay, I stink, maybe this isn't for me or I'm just not good at this. I think that's like the most important thing. I mean, it's very important as a marketer for all you marketers out there, Adam, me. I mean, I'm sure we could both attest to the fact that like we've tried a lot of things and a lot of them haven't succeeded, right? But it's all about like measuring, looking at it in an analytical way and as objectively as possible and saying, what can I do better?
Do you think it matters the size of the company that the intern works? So like for our example, we're a very small company, right? So an intern has a much louder voice here, so to speak, right? So if you're working for a bigger company, right, it's like, should you take as many risks and as many liberties with your opinions and strategies versus a smaller company?
That's a really good question, Adam. You know what? My answer, I'd say it still stands as the same. I mean, of course, right? I'm speaking to myself. If I'm managing an intern, what would I want to see?
Right.
But with that being said, if you're an intern at a larger company, I can't imagine you have your hands in something that's so critical that it's going to make or break. Like I don't think they're going to give you anything that you can actually break as an intern, right?
Right. That's a great point.
And if they do, then that's a whole other story, right? That's a whole other issue.
Just management, that's leadership situation. That's a whole, yeah.
But I mean, isn't that like what learning is in general? It should, a learning experience is trying something, not being afraid to get outside of your comfort zone and not being afraid to fail and then just fail forward and do better. Now, that's what learning's all about. I'd still say that's it. I don't know. What do you think, Adam?
Right. No, I totally agree with what Steph said. It's something too where it's the comfortability that you feel, right? Even with your supervisor, your direct report, right? It's something where it's like, you know, every single human is different, right? We all have different goals. So it's something where it's like Steph said, which is perfect. She's like, they're not going to give you something you can break, right? So it's something where at least you would hope not, and it's something where I believe from the internships that I've taken is that in the first couple of weeks, you're going to know if it's a good fit for you or not, right? It's important to find the right fit. If you want to kind of stretch your legs and do something cool, and try and make an impact, because I know at Upbeat, our goal in the long term is find interns that we eventually hire as employees. Steph, feel free to agree or disagree with this,
Yeah,
but
of
I think it's
course.
something where at other companies, I don't even know what the stat is. I'm not going to say it, but I don't know what percentage of interns go to actual hires. I'm sure it's rather low I'm sure there's a lower hire rate based on the scale of the company. I would imagine so, right? So it's something where finding a good fit is always key, right? And finding folks that you want to learn from. It's like I've had a lot of great leaders in my life. I've had a lot of terrible leaders in my life, and it's like you can just find those folks if you're lucky, through great internships.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. People that are easy to talk to and easy to be real with, right? Because I mean, at the end of the day, whether it's a paid or unpaid internship, the ultimate goal, like I said, is the learning experience. That's what's invaluable. Um, so a part of really, I mean, being a good educator, being a good leader, what have you, is being easy to and open to be like having your door open for someone to come and speak with you, right? Like if you're having a rough time with something, if you're, if you just can't wrap your head around something, like you shouldn't be, or if you want to go and give a suggestion, right? Like that's huge. I think especially like as marketing agency, right? Adam and I, we're millennials, there's a whole other generation that has wonderful ideas and has experiences that maybe they are not exactly ours. They might be, or I shouldn't even say might, but they're definitely a little bit more tapped into like, some of the social media trends and stuff, right? Because
Certain ecosystems.
Adam
Yeah.
and I are a little bit more, have our heads buried in the strategy, right? But part of being leaders in marketing is not just us knowing everything. Here's an Adam one. You know what you know, and you know what you don't. But
That's
it's
for
true.
sure.
It's true. And you have to accept, and not be afraid to not know something and to be able to find the right people that do.
Yeah.
So I think like there's a reciprocal relationship there as well.
Right. No, I totally agree. I think this goes for finding a great mentor, a great, working under a great leader overall. I had this woman at a company I worked for who was an incredible leader, one of the best leaders I've ever had. And if she ever hears this, she knows who she is. And it's something where
Give her a
she
shout
made
out. Come on. I'll put you
episode
in the
10, maybe
spot.
we'll give it to her.
Whoa, wow. The
Well, I want to
mystery.
have her on the,
Stay
I want to have
tuned.
her on the pod. Spoiler alert.
Okay.
So you gotta
Okay.
tune in and
All
check
right.
it
No
out.
spoilers, everybody.
That's right. That's right. But she was someone who she was a CMO and she made it feel comfortable to make mistakes, which I think is huge, right? An intern is under a lot of pressure, right? Steph, you and I have been there. It's like you're kind of like you're like a rented mule, right? It's like you're getting beaten for all you got to figure this out, do this, like it's menial tasks, pretty much that AI does a lot of now, right? But it's something where that internship is shifting now into stuff that's more kind of hands-on. And the ability to not be afraid to make mistakes, I think, is something that is unparalleled in the success of any marketer in any, or even in any industry. Okay, Steph, how many times have you felt comfortable with someone who's like, Steph, if you mess it up, it's okay. We've all made mistakes kind of thing. And that feeling is just like a warm blanket kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a rare gem. That's for sure.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. So on the flip side, so I know a lot of folks, are out there. Freelancing has been exploding over the past, it's 5 to 7 years. You have Fiverr, you have Upwork, you have, folks like us started on Craigslist. We're really dating ourselves here,
Whoa.
Oh yeah, we're like the same age, Steph. I don't hear kind of the same. But I'm actually
I'm
10
sorry,
years
but
younger.
I'm going to really, really quick. I'm not going to go on a tangent. I promise. But yeah, I know it just immediately made me think of, okay, have you seen, what is it? It's Florida Man?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Did you see that? It was the first episode where the guy goes to Craigslist. This is not marketing related, but yeah.
Really?
he goes on Craigslist and he's like, I'll do, desperate for money. It doesn't go where you think it does. I'm not going to give any spoilers. It's a no spoiler episode, but watch it. It's actually really funny. Anyway.
So Craigslist is done, luckily. Well, it's not done, it's still out there, but using Fiverr.
Shady characters on there, I think.
That's right. Of course.
Yeah.
But no, so back to freelancers, something it's like, I know Steph and I have freelanced in the past, and In my opinion, what makes a good freelancer is the sense of immediacy, right? So of course, the best ability is availability, right? So it's something where these folks that having hired folks through freelancer websites is, the availability is key, right? And sometimes you're looking to manage expectations with the type of work, right? You're going to get what you pay for. Realistically, I'm sure Steph can agree with this. You get what you pay for.
Sure.
So being one, based in the States, it's the availability is tough sometimes because you have folks overseas who you're trying to work with or work for, either way. So your experience with being a freelancer or hiring freelancers?
All right. Well, first I will say my most recent experience in hiring a freelancer has been great. Shout out Jasmine.
Thank you. Terrific, Jasmine.
Yeah, she's been absolutely wonderful. And, I think the thing with freelancers, like Adam said, the availability is important, but also their ability to have like very specific task oriented skills, right? Like if you have a very specific need, you want to find somebody, that can do it well. And Adam, like you said too, you don't want to necessarily be looking for the one that can do it the cheapest, right? I know a lot of people think that just because they're hiring someone from overseas, you could just absolutely pay them peanuts. And like, that's really not true, right? Because just like you do get what you pay for.
It's like McDonald's versus a steakhouse kind of thing. It's like that.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, on the flip side, working as a freelancer, Adam, I know you were talking about like going on Fiverr and Upwork. Honestly, most of my freelance work actually came more from me kind of working like my personal and professional network. With that being said, I've made the Upwork profile. I've done all of that before, but I never really I just never really went through with all of it. I know there can be a little bit of a barrier, right? You gotta, kind of like we're talking about warming up email accounts. You have to warm up your Upwork and your Fiverr account. It's like you need to have activity on there already. You have to already have work to get work, right?
Exactly.
The chicken or the egg kind of situation.
You got the first step is you got to have work to get work. That's what it is. There you go.
Have work to get work. And that's also true kind of in life, unfortunately, too.
Right.
It's a lot easier to get a job when you have a job than when you don't. Talk to me a little bit more about like your experience with freelancers, because one thing about you, Adam, is I know you've hired quite a few and worked with quite a few freelancers in your day, so you're definitely a great resource for that.
No, I appreciate that. Yeah, and I have. It's like I've handled freelancer teams of like 7 to 10 people, which is tough. Again, like some were domestic, some were abroad. And that dynamic does become quite difficult at times. But it's something too where a lot of these folks you have to remember are doing other jobs, taking other gigs at the same time, and I have a lot of experience with hiring Upwork freelancers and Fiverr freelancers. So it's something where Upwork freelancers are more like take you on hourly, do 5-10 hours a week, whatever it is, but they're doing 4 other gigs at 10 hours a week, so it's a tough dynamic, right? So how do you get them to prioritize your tasks over another client's tasks? And there's a situation where I was at a company and I had to hire 4, they let most of the marketing team go. I'm not going to say the name of this company, but they let most of the marketing team go. And they were like, let's just hire freelancers to fill it in. Needless to say, it did not go well. But it was something where for Christmas in the States, I sent a bunch of these folks $25 Amazon gift cards. Like I was like, hey, look, my emails got returned faster. My calls got picked up quicker. They were always on time to meetings. It's this little stuff because a lot of folks, having been a freelancer and having hired freelancers, we kind of get treated like throwaway folks sometimes.
Right. Or just like, it's like a cog in a wheel, but like on steroids. Right. Yeah.
Right. And it just goes towards the aspect of humanity and empathy and understanding what folks, need as humans. It's like humans need such little encouragement to do great work, which sounds silly, but it's absolutely true.
Yeah,
and
you're right.
That little encouragement. I think I spent $100, right? And like they never missed a meeting. These folks were on time. It automatically jettisoned myself and the company to the top of their priorities, right? But no one else thought to do that. Like you would have thought I sent them a bar of gold, right? They're like, oh my God, thank you so much, but it's the littlest things that make the biggest.
No, that is such a good point, right? Like, on our end, right? Especially as we grow our team and bringing on more freelancers, something to keep in mind that it's just showing that bit of appreciation, and not even just freelancers, like if you have people working for you full-time, part-time, whatever, just showing that like you recognize their work. But especially for freelancers that, you see them as an invaluable part of your team. It's one thing, okay, if they're just going in and doing a really quick engagement. They're making you one little, I don't know, one little graphic or just doing some tiny little task. Okay, fine. Yeah. Send them an email, say thank you. But if it's somebody that you really like the work that they're doing and you want them to be available to you, then yeah, you got to kind of go just a little, not crazy, but maybe a little bit more above and beyond than you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I would just say like, just, like good enough is not good enough sometimes, right? It's like, just like us just being like, hey, great job, right? It's like they hear that from everyone, right? And like, I've heard that from everyone,
Pat on the
right?
back. Yeah.
Exactly. It's like, so, but that's, we'll do a whole other episode about freelancing and things like that,
Well,
which I'm sure.
can I ask you a question?
Yeah, of course.
Curious about this one. So, Adam, would you prefer hiring one to two freelancers that are sort of generalists? They could do everything, but maybe they're not the best at everything. Or would you rather hire 10, 20 freelancers to do each individual task?
Well, it depends on it depends on the budget and the job, of course, right? Let's say, would you rather hire 2 or hire 5? Let's use that. That's a little closer together, right? If that's okay with you, right? So,
No,
like,
2 and 20. That's all we're doing.
Yeah, it's like 2 or 20. That's it. It's like, we have a $2,000 budget. We hire 2, or we can hire 20 of these folks. So it's tough with generalist freelancers. I think Steph can attest to this as well. It's like, because everybody wants to get the gig. They want to make the team. They want to be able to kind of check that box and like work with folks, because everyone wants to keep the lights on, right? So the problem with generalist freelancers is either A, they're super general, which means they literally know very little about everything. I'm talking like this infantile level of understanding. This isn't every freelancer. There's a lot of folks who
It's
come
like,
out.
oh, I've heard of that app before. I can use it.
Right. Exactly. Versus like getting someone hyper focused as like a Salesforce Marketing Cloud like freelancer. Like it's gonna cost you more, but they're gonna get the job done like way more effectively with a way bigger impact. So in my opinion, I think it's always better to go deep than go wide, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if your company, speaking to folks out there who have marketing companies, your company is in a situation where you have to find a couple generalists to kind of get the boat in the water, then sure, it's really so situational. But in an ideal world where kind of freelancer budgets aren't an issue, just define the problem first, right? Define it first, and then find someone to specifically attack that problem, and then you're going to solve it much more quickly than finding someone who might be able to do it a couple times over.
Yeah. I hear what you're saying. And especially, it's like, I think the more complex the problem is, the more that you're going to want, right? I think that's what it comes down to at the end of the day. But the thing that I was thinking of is just being able to effectively manage that many people, right? Like, it just becomes increasingly more difficult, even just to find the time of the day, right? Because there is a level of hand holding. We just talked about this the other day, Adam, that needs to be done to get freelancers to the point where they're completing the task to what your vision is, right? Just kind of like what we talked about with us, even working with clients, the same exact thing.
Right.
But how, if you've got 5 freelancers instead of 2 on one project, then, it gets a little bit more complex, right? Because it's going to strain your time a little bit.
Yeah.
But, if it's something like a Salesforce implementation, yeah, I mean, you're not going to hire some guy off the street that heard of Salesforce once, absolutely.
I mean, if you have a low budget, you might have to do that. I mean, I've had to do
that. If you can afford Salesforce, you should be able to afford the implementation.
That's very good. Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's right. That's a very fair point. Very fair point. But yeah, no. So anything else on freelancers? If not, I think that brings us to our time.
Oh, okay. Well, I spent more time setting this up today than we did chatting, but
it was all worth it.
That's why we're here. Still, hey guys, it's still a work in progress here. We're gonna get there.
Leave a comment. This will be up on YouTube shortly.
Yeah, we're gonna be on YouTube.
Of course, upbeatgrowth.com. Submit your questions to upbeatgrowth.com/podcast. I believe, Steph, is the link.
Yeah, right. That's it.
Submit your questions there. We're happy to answer them, and we're even happier that you're here. So I appreciate it. And Steph, any closing remarks? Are you good?
No, that's about it. I feel like what is it, 6:30? I feel like I need a nap, but
there you go.
Adam, great talking to you as always. And yeah, guys, please do submit those questions. We're really looking forward to answering them. And I think you already said at Upbeat Growth, all the socials. So yeah, give us a shout.
Cool. We'll catch you guys on the flip. Thanks so much.
Later.